Well, would you look at this? We got a new patch in Marvel Snap. Okay, let's have a look, shall we? We've got some card changes. Very, very nice. I'd like to see that. Some new locations. Excellent. More content. And then a booster cap. Let's talk about that. Alright, hey guys, it's Drew Barry here. Today I'm talking about the booster problem that's in Marvel Snap. It's always been a problem, really since the game has been released to the public, but it just got a little bit worse because they just added a daily booster limit, which is 200 boosters per day. A lot of people are frustrated with this, and I kind of just wanted to break it down a little bit. So, boosters. Boosters is one of the two main currencies in Marvel Snap. You need it to upgrade your cards, which is going to help you progress your collection level, which will ultimately net you new cards. That is the kind of loop that they have in Marvel Snap. Unfortunately, you also require another currency to do an upgrade. So on the far right here, you can see Agent 13 is requiring 25 credits and 5 boosters. That's what those symbols indicate. So credits have always been a hard time. They're kind of time gated because there's daily missions, and that's how you acquire credits. So if you complete all of your quests, then you're kind of capped at the amount of credits you can earn in a day. You don't get them from winning games. On the other hand, boosters you do. So you get 6 boosters for a win, and you get 4 for a loss, and there's some other conditions if you don't fully complete a game, and you'll get less. But let's just go with 6 and 4 for the sake of it being a little easier. This ran into an issue where people had an abundant amount of boosters but not enough credits. And it's going to show in your little collection level, like you'll see here, that you can upgrade it. And that was really triggering people because it's like, oh, I have all these cards I can upgrade, but I don't have the credits to do so. So my progression is being stalled. I can't get all these new cards that my friends are playing with, and I'm frustrated. And I totally understand that. But I was trying to think of, okay, well, what would be a solution? Team Second Dinner clearly thought of this. They thought, what would be a solution to this problem? Let's help out these players. Their answer was to cap the amount of boosters we can get in a day. So now both currencies are capped, leading to a situation where there's really no point in playing the game any further if you've got everything out of the day. If you've completed your dailies, you've capped your boosters, you're not going to be able to progress at all. There's really the only thing is your ranked MMR. But even that is a bit dry because if you get to 100, there's no rewards afterwards, and the rewards are kind of mediocre. And there's not many. It's every 10 levels. Okay? So this is a huge problem, and the comment they made in the patch notes is, while this change will affect less than 10% of players, we think it will help keep our currencies in balance a little better for the players it does affect. Once players get too many boosters, they can't use them anyway as they won't be able to get enough credits to convert them to collection level. So they actually addressed the real problem, but the change they made isn't fixing that at all. And that's where I think they made a huge mistake. And I think they even acknowledge it, but they wanted to take a different approach. I don't think it's out of greed. I think it's just out of experimentation, closed beta, just trying things out. I really still have hope that Second Dinner is going to be a good game development company. They're going to bring Marvel Snap to a great place where it can actually be a free-to-play game and people can enjoy it without paying to win. But this is a little bit worrisome, especially the comment about that this change only affects 10% of players. That is crazy to me from a PR standpoint. Even if that were true, which it just isn't, unfortunately, if it were true that only 10% of players were acquiring 200 boosters in a day, that is your most dedicated fan base. That is the people that are playing this game the most. They're probably content creators because they tend to end up playing the game the most to have a good feel of the meta so they can talk about it. And you're kind of hurting them. You can't allow them to progress or get those new cards and showcase it. Like, it's just, there's no real benefit here. what they're trying to say is the benefit is that you won't feel like you have an abundant amount of one currency, so it'll make you feel less bad about not getting too much of the other, which is just backwards. It's absolutely backwards. The cap has taken Marvel Snap 2 steps back, which is really sad to see. But I think they will correct it. I think they're going to see all the comments, videos, and everything about this issue. But let's look at this. Okay, so 10% of players. So I had a couple friends that have been playing this as well, and almost right away they messaged me saying, yep, hit the cap. 9 a.m., hit the cap. And that's just brutal. I myself have hit the cap already as well. And I didn't even try that hard. Let's put that in a little bit of context. So we have 6 for a win, 4 for a loss. So if we were on an absolute tear, and I won 34 games in a row without my opponent conceding any earlier than turn 6, then I would get 6 boosters for each win, and that would take me 34 wins to hit the cap. Okay? 34 wins, only 3-minute games, you're looking at about an hour and a half, right, of game time. That is nothing at all for gamers, okay? So let's say I went on an absolute losing streak. Couldn't win for the life of me, but I was not a coward and I did not retreat. Well, it would take me 50 losses to hit the cap. How bad does that feel? I'm probably at 0 MMR at this point because all I've been doing is losing cubes. And now, if I continue my losing streak that I'm so proud of, I'm not even going to get any reward at all. No boosters, no nothing. Most of the credits are behind missions that require you to win the game. So that's not going to happen. 50 losses in a row is pretty over the top. So why don't we look at a 50% win rate? Something a little bit more reasonable, right? So at a 50% win rate, when you're going back and forth between 4 and 6 boosters per game, you're going to end up at 42 games played. 42 games at a 3-minute average, which is what they advertise, 3-minute games. Sometimes they're a little bit longer. We're looking at 126 minutes of game time. That is a little over 2 hours of playing Marvel Snap. Now, you cannot tell me that only 10% of your player base is playing for 2 hours. There's just no way. And if that is true, you have a Smurf issue where people are making false accounts and not playing the game. Because everyone I know plays at least 2 hours a day. This game is incredibly fun. I love this game. The gameplay is so intelligent, fun. They're doing so many great things with the artwork as well. Of course I'm going to play the game for more than 2 hours in a day. And maybe it ebbs and flows. Some days I might not play at all. I'm just busy with real life things. And then the other day I'm playing for 4 hours. Why would you cap it? And why would you make it such a small cap? I mean, honestly, even if it was 2,000 boosters like that, well, maybe that's probably more reasonable, but I don't think this was a good approach. You're punishing the player base that plays the game the most, and it just feels bad. It feels bad. You're hitting a limit, and there's just nothing to play for afterwards. So so it's another problem with the boosters that I wanted to address is that there's no way to prioritize which cards actually get the boosters. So the way boosters work is it's going to give, let's say, Wolverine. You're going to get Wolverine boosters for a win or a loss when you end a game. It's not like a universal currency that I can use towards any of my cards in my collection, which makes it even more difficult because as you upgrade your cards, it costs that much more boosters, that much more credits. And if I don't like playing with the other cards, I'm kind of forced to because I have to progress my collection level to get to the cards that I want to in the mystery batch. So we're just in a really tight spot here. So right now, the one saving grace is that the boosters will prioritize if you have a common or uncommon card in your deck. So how it works is you queue the deck, and out of the 12 cards in your deck, you're going to get boosters for one of those 12. So it's random. Except if you have a common and uncommon, there's a higher chance, I don't know the percentage chance, not aware if it's public or not, but there is a higher percent chance that you will get the boosters for those cards, making it easier to upgrade those cards. But there's no way of selecting which cards get the boosters. What if I want to, I have a card that I want to get to in an infinity split, which is at the tail end of the upgrade. But I have these other cards that I'm using to fill my deck to, win games because they're meta defiant or something like that. And they're getting the boosters. I don't want to upgrade them. I got 200 boosters on one of these cards. I don't want to upgrade them. Like, it's not a cap issue. It's a picking which ones get the boosters issue. So we're in a stall. And I think it feels really bad. I'm concerned that they just have a funny focus about this. They're trying to maybe make some money. I don't know. I don't know if that's really the issue. But it needs to be fixed. Overall, the progression system needs to fix. I'm not even talking about the credits. Really, that's, like, in my opinion, the bigger issue at hand. But boosters are now going to be an issue because you're capped. So let's look at a possible solution. Okay, I don't really like raising problems without solutions. I also want to preface that Team Second Dinner has done an excellent job with this game. And I think this is a very small step back, but we have to acknowledge it is a step back. We have to acknowledge that. Okay, so solution. So what I'd like to see is we'd remove boosters from the collection level. It doesn't feel great when you're upgrading cards and you're grinding away and you finally get to a place where you can get a reward and it's boosters. Not just boosters, but random boosters. Going back to when I was saying that it's not universal, it's going to go to some random card in my collection. That kind of sucks because there's a lot of cards that I don't want to upgrade. And now you're kind of giving me a dead currency that I worked hard for. This is my progression system. This is my collection level. I should feel good about everything that I acquire here. But I just don't with the boosters. So let's get those out of there. And I know what you're thinking. Whoa, you want to cap the boosters and eliminate places where you can get them? Just hold on. Let's make the boosters universal. Instead of tying it to a card, just make it a bigger currency. Just a currency I can use towards any card. It'll make it feel a little bit better. I can dedicate my personal collection that I have earned in the direction that I want to navigate it. I want to upgrade certain cards because for one reason or the other, because they're meta-defined or because I feel personally attached to them. That should be my choice, not by the random luck of the draw of did I get the right currency for my plan. So let's make it universal. Now the downside is, from Team Second Dinner's point of view, is that now, because the player base has control over the boosters, well, we're not going to make as much money, or they're not going to want boosters as a reward or anything like that because they can target it. You don't need as many if you can focus your boosters, right? Theoretically. Then we can just make it harder to get them. If I can use it on the card that I want, then I don't really need as many. We'll get to that in a second. So let's also raise or remove the cap. We don't need this cap. This was a bad idea. Like I was saying, it's a step back. Like I said, 2,000 might be a little bit much, but we could go to at least 1,000. I think that's a little bit more reasonable. If it's taking me 2 hours to get 200, I probably shouldn't be playing the game for 8 hours in a day. If I am and I get capped, well, that's a little bit on me, right? So something along that lines I think would be a little bit better. But we should change. We should look at the cap and make a change. Let me know what you think about any of these solutions. If you think it's a good idea, if you have your own idea, just let me know in the comments below. I'd like to hear solutions. We all know this is a problem. Let me know how you'd fix it. Okay, so then crafting system. Is this not the number one thing that Marvel Snap needs, besides a friends list? But crafting system. There's no way to get a card that you want. It is the number one feels bad thing in this game. Whether something is controlling the meta, or you just really want that cool card for your discard deck, you can't. You gotta wait, and you gotta hope that mystery card turns out to be the one you wanted. On top of that, as the collection level progresses, it actually takes longer in between to get a mystery card. You need more boosters, credits, etc. to progress. So the way they break it up is in 3 pools. Pool 3 takes forever to get a new card. And they have the most cards. I think there's 70 plus cards in there. They're very cool. But it's very difficult to get to them. So what if we had a system where we could craft them? And what if the currency we used for that was boosters? because we already have this universal currency that you can use towards any card. What if instead we used it towards crafting cards as well? But not only that, you make it a premium price. Look, Team Second Dinner needs to make some money off of this game. At the end of the day, we're talking about a free-to-play game. You don't have to put a penny into this, okay? But they do have to somehow make a little bit of money because they're hardworking employees and they're working on this game, okay? So make it a premium price. Cost 250 boosters to craft a base card. I don't even know if that makes sense economically wise, but just as an example, I feel like that's a lot of boosters to use. If we go back to our, that's like 2 hours of grinding maybe to get a card that you want, right? You can craft it. We could even still tier it off with the pools. I have to wait until I'm in pool 3 to craft a pool 3 card, maybe something like that. Then you have like more pools to stagger people a little bit more if you think power is an issue. But yeah, I'd really like to see a crafting system like this. And then even the variants, I don't feel like this is super necessary. Variants and cosmetics like this are the number one method for free-to-play games to make money. And I think that's perfectly fine because it doesn't affect the gameplay. You're not getting a competitive advantage if you have this cool Drax skin and I only have the default one. So, but why not give the option? 500 boosters, you might pull people away from crafting new cards, which makes them spend more money. Like, you never know. Like, we have to keep in mind that this is a company and they have to make money, but they also have to find a way to make it fun and free to play. There's a healthy balance in there somewhere. They're taking a bold approach by changing progression system from your typical like grinding daily quests, using that gold to buy packs and opening up packs and hoping you get the random card. Like, they're trying to get away from that. I totally respect that. I personally have enjoyed the direction they've taken it. I just feel like they have taken a step back with the boosters, and I'm worried about what they're going to do moving forward. So that's what I think about the booster problem. Let me know what you think. Let me know some solutions in the comments below. I'd love to hear how we're feeling about this. From what I've seen, it's pretty negative. But at the end of the day, I still really love this game. I want the best for it. So I hope you're still enjoying the game. Don't let the booster cap get you down. Try and get those cubes and have fun. Thanks for watching.